So this is a book that actually I finished. I purchased the day after I made this YouTube channel. So this was a few months ago, maybe. Actually, of course, it was a few months ago. And I came back to this. I've read some books within the past few days, but I wanted to talk about this one because it just came up in my mind for some reason. So we're gonna talk about Batman and philosophy. So first of all, about Batman, he's a psychopath. I'm pretty sure that's maybe obvious by now. I'm not sure if it was extremely obvious, but yes, he's a psychopath. And aside from that, he's also, of course, a vigilante. He's not necessarily a superhero, and he's a human. So him being human, that's pretty much one of the traits that defines him, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of people like Batman. One of the reasons I do too, because he's immortal, unlike Superman, who's pretty much a god, or of course a superhero. So and we go into the philosophy of Batman. And actually, I was thinking about what would his philosophy be, and not necessarily strictly from the book, but for me. And I would think that Batman, he doesn't save the good, he fights the bad. Like, because with all the money he has, he could just buy something to help the good, but instead he chooses just to fight the bad. And he still saves the good people, but he's not necessarily with them at all times. And that's why he's a vigilante. So that's pretty much the philosophy of Batman, I could say, is, fight the bad. And the good will just, maybe help them out sometimes. Sometimes only. And there's a lot of course, when we talk about Batman, we have to talk about which one we're talking about. And since I haven't read any of the comics yet, I don't think I'll get to them. I feel like just the Dark Knight, that's the one I'm familiar with. And Batman versus Superman. I love that Batman too. But the Dark Knight Batman, that one was phenomenal. I really enjoyed that one. So there's one more thing I want to talk about Batman, and that's the world. And the world in this book, they mention, pretty much the same philosophy of Thomas Hobbes and Leviathan. Basically stating that, without the government's help, or without an extra power, I could say, guiding people what to do, the world will just be in chaos. Everyone will fight each other, kill each other. It'll be like pretty much a war zone. We could say that, except there might not be as much guns, of course, but there'll be weapons and a lot of looting and things like that. So that's pretty much what the world will be like. Not even just in Batman, but like in real life. The example they gave was when Louisiana, or was it Texas? One of them, Hurricane Katrina, and it was like the whole city, almost the whole city, a lot of cities were flooded. Cause I'm pretty sure it didn't just happen in one city. Cities were flooded. People were dying. People were stealing things, and that was because there was, pretty much no one there to guide them. It's like, oh hey, everything's flooded. The people who used to live in this house now don't live here. Let's go in and take something. So that was pretty much the mindset, and I could say pretty much everyone could be like that in any situation. And it's funny how human nature doesn't change. People think we have morals now and ethics. Nah, we're pretty much the same. Like if there was a time of famine, I'm pretty sure everyone would go back to eating their kids. So it's just a funny thing about human nature. But the philosophy of Batman, it's not a bad one, nor is it a good one. It's just his own, and that was pretty much strictly a theoretical concept, or so I should say. So Batman, my favorite, I could say my favorite movie character. I really enjoy Batman, and I'm actually feel like I want to watch a movie about him. I'm waiting on the new one to come out for sure, but I don't really like the cartoon ones either. So just the movies, that's usually what I stick with, and they're pretty nice. But I didn't really go too deep into what the book was saying, cause I liked the book, and they went over like all the Batmans, all the comics, even more characters like the Joker, how that dude used to be a good dude supposedly, and then one bad day turned him to lunacy. Well, I mean he was abused by his father and stuff, so maybe he was a good kid, but Like there was a lot more that this book went deep into that I didn't really want to go deep into myself. So we just leave it here, and this was Batman and Philosophy.